Position, and it's Juan Crespi joining him on the front row. Giovanni Bramante and Dylan Tavella, row 2. Gianluca Pitakov and Ricardo Viazmil, row 3. We're racing. Well, nice clean start, and that looks like cart 470. Juan Crespi in the lead from the outside of the front row. One of our front runners going up the banking, and that drops him a long way back. Dylan Tavella starting on the outside of the front row, also getting a good start. So Juan Crespi and Dylan Tavella, the two outside drivers, getting better starts than Antonio Serravalle and Giovanni Bramante. They were third and fourth behind Dylan Tavella and Juan Crespi. Justin Sirgany, I think, went through fifth. Oh, and there's an unhappy little bunny there at the bottom of the screen. Well, it's motor racing. These things happen, and you are safe and you are in one piece. So let's just leave it at that. You live to race another day. But it is a frustration. This is the final, and you're out of it before there's even one lap completed. Nice shot on the hairpin. Well done to our race director. Excuse me, our TV director. Internet TV provision for FWT Live, Michael Scott Wright. Dylan Tavella continuing to lead this one. Dylan Tavella having had a shout out moments ago. See the value of emailing in and offering a shout. Far better than a commentator's reference. That's the commentator's curse. I fear I put the curse on Stuart Clark by referring to his family 2 and 3 times, but hey, these things happen. A 12-lap race sponsored by PSLkarting.com for Micromax. Coming down towards the end of the second lap. And it's a good dice between these kids at the front. Kart number 414 is Dylan Tavella. Antonio Serravalle, who started on pole position, starting the fight back here. He's now in second place in front of Juan Crespi. And as I move away from the screen, the timing screen, just try to see. Well, somebody's left the circuit to the right of the screen there at the back, and that's pretty much his or her chances gone for anything like a top 10 finish, I would have thought, because this is lap 3 of a 12-lap final. So only 10 laps remaining, including the one that we're on. And if you've detached yourself at the back because you've left the tarmac, you do have a big struggle. See the Traxxer mechanical Marshall system in the middle of your screen, those of you tuned in online. Mr. Bill Wright, very much a proponent of this feature. We do have it in Europe, but not as widely as we might have. Dylan Tavella, kart number 414, continuing to hold this advantage over Anthony Serravalle. It's by a quarter of a second. Juan Crespi third, Justin Sirgany fourth, Giovanni Bramante fifth, Harry Coulton sixth, Jack Miller 7, Gianluca Pitakov 8, David Morales 9th, and Alex Verhagen completing the top 10. Well, Dylan Tavella putting on a decent show, isn't he? He's certainly making the guys have to work hard to stay with him. He's from a town of Massapequa. Doesn't tell me what state that is. Massapequa. 9 years of age, karting 3.5 years, the OVRP champion micro, sponsored by GT7. Dylan Tavella, having read all of that to you, had surrendered the lead while I was reading it to you. Antonio Serravalle having gone through in the lead, the youngster from Ontario, Canada, in front of the Brazilian Juan Crespi and the Jamaican Justin Sirgany. Dylan Tavella, at least in fourth place, can say, well, I'm the best placed United States driver. He's from New York in fourth place, just in front of Giovanni Bramante, also from New York. Harry Coulton, based here in Florida, grandparents living in England. Devin Boutou, who we had some shouts for, is down in 15th place. He's from Naples, Florida. Goes to the Big Cypress Elementary School, sponsored by Mum and Dad. Ah, well done, Devin, and well done, Mum and Dad. New race leader as Justin Sirgany takes the lead. Well, it's a signal for something to happen if I look at the driver bios. So thank you for the prompting from my TV producer, Michael Scott. Without that, well, I guess if I'd have looked up at the circuit, I would have seen that, hey, we've got a different leader. Justin Sirgany, driving for Fast Karts Rotax, driving out of the Caribbean island of Jamaica. Antonio Serravalle still well in touch, and so is Juan Crespi in 3rd place. Coming down towards the half race distance, because the Micromax final is over the shortened race distance of 12 laps. Kart number 418, Antonio Serravalle. In front of Justin Sirgany and Dylan Tavea. So, 6 laps gone, 6 to go. 6 laps gone and 6 to go. And at the half race distance, Antonio Serravalle had a lead of 0.07 of a second over Justin Sirgany. Dylan Tavea was in 3rd place. Juan Crespi was 4th. Giovanni Bramante was 5th. Harry Coulton 6th. Gianluca Peterkoff was in 7th place. 8th place goes at the moment to Jack, or it did at halfway, to Jack William Miller of Indiana. David Morales was in 9th place. And the top 10 was completed by Alex Verhagen from Connecticut. So we're in the second half of the race. Race leader, kart number 418, Antonio Serravalle, continues to hold the advantage. It was 0.07 of a second. Well, let me tell it you more accurately, guys. On the previous lap, the margin between Antonio Serravalle and Justin Sirgany was 0.071. Now it's 0.070. So Justin Sirgany pulled in Antonio Serravalle to the extent of 1/1000th of a second, 0.001. I just thought you might be interested in numbers. As a sports commentator in the United States once told me, American sports people live and die by numbers. Well, the numbers right now are that your 1 and 2 driver Antonio Serravalle and Justin Sirgany are putting on a heck of a show. See the camera on Justin Sirgany's kart. Be interesting to see the pictures of those a little later. Wouldn't be allowed to do that in CIK racing. That would be, well, that's not strictly true. You do actually have to carry a camera, but you have to have it mounted where the officials want it, and that's to show if there's been any contact, and if there has been contact, who might have been the aggressor. It's good scrap at the front, no question. Antonio Serravalle from Ontario holding this narrow advantage over the Caribbean driver Justin Sirgany. Not far to the end of the race now. We're coming up to the 3/4 race distance. Sirgany taking the advantage, retaking the advantage as we come down and taking it back again. They're trading places, these two. So this is the 3/4 race distance. 9 laps gone, 3 to go. 9 down, 3 to go. We enter the final quarter. Antonio Serravalle and Justin Sirgany virtually locked together. And hey, this is Micromax racing, so nobody can tell me with certainty who's going to win this one. Nobody can tell me how many more times they'll trade places. It's Micromax racing. There's often a sting in the tail to these races. Antonio Serravalle and Justin Sirgany have got half a lap to settle this one. Less than half a lap now. Coming down the long straightaway. Underneath the starting gantry. Just onto the hairpin. Who's going to take the advantage home? Looks as if it's going to be Antonio Serravalle. Checkered flag on the right-hand side of your screen comes out. And the race is won by Antonio Serravalle. Justin Sirgany second. Dylan Tavea third. Giovanni Bramonte fourth. Juan Crespi fifth. Harry Coulton sixth. Gianluca Peterkoff 7, Jack William Miller 8, David Morales 9, and Alex Verhagen completing the top 10. Good race. Well done, guys. Well done. Well, I was getting myself in front of myself because it was called a race finish when in fact we've got 2 more laps to go. So apologies for that aberration. Not quite sure how that happened. I'll take the blame. Oh, and here's a potential move on the hairpin. Oh, squeezing through. Justin Sirgany back in the lead. There's the white flag, which, as I've said previously, would have meant a slow vehicle on track. In our country, means 1 lap to go here. Well, Justin Sirgany looking over his shoulder. Antonio Serravalle, surprise, surprise, is very closely there. Well, does anybody have the accurate record of how many times these guys have swapped places, traded places? I'm hearing at least 10. I would have said it's at least half a dozen. Okay, drag to the flag gonna work? Who gets the verdict? Oh, it's so close because they are side by side now, aren't they? Well, we sometimes say this in commentary when it isn't necessarily so. Antonio Serravalle by 0.04.